you start asking yourself, why is it you waited 17 years to do some of this? And that's not to say that things were bad before, but just it makes you wish you had done that earlier and how much better things would have been the whole time. Because right now things are awesome. I'm not gonna lie, things are awesome. I mean, we are probably at the highest we've ever been in our relationship ever. And we have 8 kids in the house and we're still doing it.
Welcome to the Get Your Marriage On podcast. I'm your host, Dan Purcell, a Christian marriage and intimacy expert and coach. I'm on a mission to help couples have the best sex and most emotionally intimate marriages possible. Our episodes cover topics you've always wondered about and are packed with practical advice designed to help you take your marriage to the next level. In the thick of raising children, or building a career, or juggling the many demands that life imposes on us, it's easy for couples to feel like relationship matters have been put to the side. You don't intend for this to happen, of course. It's easy for things to feel so vanilla, routine, or monotonous between you and your spouse. So, how do some couples work through these challenges effectively? I love releasing podcast episodes like this one because these aren't so-called quote-unquote experts that pretend to have everything figured out. They're ordinary men like me and you who have regular, normal challenges, yet their stories are inspiring because of the insights that they share are applicable to everyone. Clint and Tony are my guests today. They were part of the latest men's small group coaching program that I run periodically. You'll get to hear all about their experience, as well as any special insights that they've gained as a result of participating in this life-changing program. One thing I've learned over the years of doing this work is that men need men. When good men band together, committed to helping each other become better husbands and fathers, great things happen. Registration is now open for our next cohort for our men's small group coaching program like the one Tony and Clint just did. It starts on September 4th. It's 12 weeks long and is limited to just 8 to 10 men. The program includes a comprehensive course and coaching to help you apply proven principles in your unique circumstances. I'm absolutely certain this program is a good fit for you if you're in an otherwise healthy relationship yet feel like something is missing when it comes to intimacy. You'll definitely uncover what's missing and witness a transformation in yourself over the 12 weeks we meet together. All these details are on my website at getyourmarriageon.com. Click on Programs, then Men's Coaching Program. By the way, we also have an equivalent women's program starting in October, so check the website for details there too. Speaking of which, our upcoming retreat for couples in October is nearly full. We have just a few spots left that you can snag. The dates are October 10th or 13th, but if you can't make that work, the next retreat we have scheduled is March 27 through 30, 2025. Couples who attend these retreats walk away empowered, inspired, and transformed. These couples retreats are like nothing else out there. Couples put away everyday distractions for a weekend and focus on what matters most. They experience what it truly means to cherish and to be intimate with each other. All these details are also available on the website. Also, in the month of September, it's our Sextember, and you are invited to join Emily and I in making September the sexiest one you've had yet. And all those details are going to be available if you download the Intimately Us app, and you'll find all of those details there. Hey, Tony and Clint, welcome to the Get Your Marriage On podcast. How are you today?
Doing good. How are you?
Great. I'm fantastic. And what a privilege it is to meet with you tonight and to talk about the things we're going to talk about. It's kind of fun that 3 grown men getting together, talking about why we love sex so much. So, right?
Right on.
Right. Real quick, we'll go to Tony first and then Clint. Can you introduce yourself to everyone? Please talk about yourself and a little bit about your family.
Yeah, my name's Tony. I'm down in Georgia, here in the States. My wife and I have been married 13 and a half years. We have 5 kids aging from 12 down to 9 months. So we are always busy on the go and just living life right now.
That's good. Great. And Clint?
Hey, yeah, so my name's Clint. I'm right next door to Georgia and Alabama. Been married to my wife for 17 years, 18th is June. We have 4 bio kids, at 15, 13, and twin boys that are 11. We adopted a little girl March of last year, so almost been a year. She's 2.5. She'll be 3 in May. we're also foster parents. So we have three, I guess, sibling sets that are placed with us right now. So we've got 8 kids in the house, but, five of ours, but 8 total in the house right now. But yeah, things are busy and loud and crazy and fun and all the above.
Wow, wow. And I have 6 children too, so here we are.
Right.
We're
We
really
all
busy.
understand.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're in the thick of parenting and fatherhood and everything,
that's
right?
right. That's right.
I
Absolutely.
Is it easy in your experience for men in this stage of life, like the stage of life we are all in, to feel a little lost in our marriage relationships?
I think it's definitely easy because priorities get out of whack and not necessarily on purpose, just naturally, more kids, more demands kind of deal.
Mhm.
You have that.
Yeah,
You have the things that have to get done, and sometimes those, kind of, linger and don't go away, and it's easy to put something else to the side. And unfortunately, that's often the common thing is your relationship with your wife, and then overall with your family. But yeah, I would agree, 100%.
yeah, very good. So you've both been in the latest cohort of the men's coaching program. I just
Correct.
wanna hear, let's go Tony first and then Clint. What was it like for you before you joined the program? What was the state of your relationships? And, let's start there.
Okay. For us, we were kind of in a stalemate, I guess we would say, in our relationship. Things were very just status quo. A lot of people would kind of use the term vanilla, like just loved each other and stuff, but it was just, there was definitely room for improvement on that.
Mhm.
I would say for us, kind of going back to the comment we just said, everything else was taking priority. We had to get the kids taken care of. I mean, we had our own. We also had other kids that were in our home that had to be taken care of, and it was easy to just put all that first. And at the end of the day, you were exhausted. Like, you just want to go to bed. You didn't talk about the day. You had, you knew what coming up the next day. Get up and go the next day. Like, start, you know, 5 a.m. You're going again, and you go all day long. And you may talk about, hey, there's an appointment and crossing paths, but it was easy to, you always had an excuse. Oh, we can't meet for lunch, or we can't go out for a date because we got this, or and it wasn't that we were doing it on purpose. It just that was the easy answer. It's hard to get someone to keep the kids. And so I wouldn't say things were terrible, but it was very evident that the priority was not where it should be. And then, the saying is, everything's not good with you and your wife, then everything else kind of trickles down from there. And you can start seeing just the stress that from us not connecting, we get more frustrated at something that was something simple. I mean, whether each other or the kids, it was just all that carried over and became clear that it was time that we had to put all that to the side for a minute and figure out getting us back on the right track, and then everything else will come together.
Right. So Clint, I've been there too. In a way, it feels like Groundhog's Day, right? It's like a
Good way to
repeat.
put it. That's a good way to put it.
Um,
I hadn't thought about that.
I mean, there's bright spots here and there, but the general going just feels a little mundane.
Right.
And
Yep.
right, right.
Definitely. I mean, there were times that, we would have to split. Tony and I were talking about this earlier. You know, I took some here, she took some there, and we crossed paths sometimes, but it was never like us intentionally, let's cross paths. Like, it was always we just happened to cross paths because we had to change kids to keep going on the next errand. So yeah,
Mhm.
it was hard. It was hard.
And you two know each other before coming to this men's group. How did you two meet each other?
We actually met each other in a dad's group from another podcast through a Facebook chat group thing from that, where they talked about the different podcast episodes and stuff like that. And we met on that. And I had already been listening to Get Your Marriage On, and we had been using the Intimately Us and Just Between Us apps. And I actually told Clint about those. And then so when he was doing all that, this is when the men's emails started coming out about joining the group and stuff. And I was like, hey, we should do it. And so we did that together. It was nice going in with somebody you kind of already knew. So it wasn't
Yes.
complete strangers.
It
Yeah.
was it was I mean, I can still remember it was a Sunday afternoon, I think in September or first part of October, that I did a post on this group of dads. I asked, I can't remember the question what I asked now, but Tony and several people responded, but he was one of them. And then he mentioned these apps and your podcast and your stuff, and it just kind of went from there. And I mean, I would not say we knew each other well before, but we knew who each other were and realized, oh
Right.
wow, this is really like he was telling me he's used apps and how great it is. So I went on and paid for the subscription of both of them. I didn't want the one that's free. I wanted the full. I went all in from the very beginning. Let's go for the full version.
Right.
Yeah, I was actually headed on a work trip. I think when I downloaded them, I was headed to the airport on that trip and told my wife, I was like, "Got these. Here's the code for you." And I mean, we kind of started just kind of connecting while I was gone, which is kind of interesting through the apps with her, kind of letting her look at them before I got home. And then, I mean, it's been ever since then.
It's
Yep.
been magic ever since.
Right. That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good. So, you two joined our men's program, which there were about 10 men in our program, this cohort.
Mm.
Was it kind of weird or awkward joining on Zoom with other men that you don't know very well, at least in the beginning?
I think that's kind of a yes and a no to that one. It was kind of weird and kind of awkward, but then at the same time, not, because sometimes the having to be open and share some pretty deep stuff can get a little awkward. But then the fact that none of us really knew each other and were near each other and we didn't have to see each other like at work or anything definitely
Right.
helped.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yes. How about you, Clinton? Anything to add?
Yeah, I would say almost the exact same thing. Like, I mean, I think anybody who signed up for it knew this is not going to be easy. And when I say easy, meaning we're going to have to talk about things that we do not want to talk about. But just like Tony said, none of us are in the same city. I mean, Tony's a couple hours away from me, so even though we talk, we still don't see each other. But I think that makes it easier for people first to break down that wall. It's like, well, this is safe. Like we're all like I'm. When I hang up tonight and go to work tomorrow, they're not going to be across the hall from me and saying, "Oh, I know what you like." Like bringing it up and like,
Right.
be quiet. Like, what are you talking about? But then as time went on, I mean, I'll be honest, like, you start wishing everybody was close so that you could connect and see each other. Like, it's interesting how it changed. Like, at first, this is safe, this is weird and awkward,
Uh-huh.
but this is good. But then toward the end, you're like, dang, like, I mean, I wish we were close. Like, we all live so we could hang out and see each other. So, kind of funny how it evolves throughout the weeks
Yeah,
through
yeah.
that.
So, Tony, how would you describe the dynamic with 10 of us in our group?
We were like, we had kind of a wide age span with our group. We had some who I would classify newlyweds in that first 3 years, no kids kind of stuff, to like those of us in the thick of raising kids and parenting and all that, to those who are empty nesters and having to reestablish what is their relationship now. That kids aren't the center, so to speak, of their relationship. And so that was neat because, like, from where I'm at, I got to help and kind of feed into the newlywed guys, but then the ones who have already gone through raising all the kids and stuff could feed into us. And it was just this very nice symbiotic kind of relationship going on.
Mhm. And if I can add a little to that, I loved seeing just us men gel together. Like, in the
Yeah.
first week, maybe the second week, there's still a little like trepidation. But then once you realize, hey, we all have the same sort of vulnerabilities and we're all scared of the same things and we're all learning the same things, all of a sudden there's like a bond there that's beautiful.
And I think, then what you just said is the key to that is that I think, at least for me, especially like just like Tony said, we're all at different stages, but like I'm not the only one going through this stage now. And what I went through when I was first married, I wasn't the only one then, even though I'm already past that. Hearing people and then looking ahead, like it's not going to end. But at the same time, I'm not the only one doing it. It finally makes all that real when someone else is on the screen saying the same thing, and then maybe a couple years ahead of you, a couple years behind you. Like this is all it's okay. It's all normal. Like it's not me. And I think that's huge. I think that's huge as well with that.
Great. As you reflect back on the last 12 weeks, Tony, what are some of the key ahas or insights that you've had for you in your relationship that you're willing to share?
Yeah, for us, perspective is a big one for me. Just kind of not airing our laundry on here, but with some of the issues that we were overcoming and facing through the time, making sure I was looking at it just not from my point of view and trying to put myself in my wife's shoes, so to speak. How is she dealing with this? Like, definitely being open and honest with my wife, because there were several things that I was holding back, I would say, to protect her so she wouldn't have to deal with it or whatever. But really, it was just because I didn't want to open up and I didn't want to be the one getting hurt, you know?
Yes, right.
Um, and so having that open communication, that open dialogue, has been a definite game changer for us.
Gotcha. So what you're saying is just through it and reviewing it and the things we discussed, there was a point where you realized I can have more courage in this aspect here. I've been holding back, or I've been behaving out of fear, I can step in here a little more
Absolutely.
full-heartedly and honestly with this.
Absolutely.
That's good. Great. How about you, Clint?
I would say that first part about being open and honest was also one for me. There were, I mean, like I said, we were married 17 years, and there were conversations that we had that we hadn't ever had. And some of it was just, it just had never come up. Like I never asked the questions. She herself had never asked the questions to me, or kind of like what he's saying. I just didn't want to answer them completely because you don't know one how she's going to take it. But I mean, all honesty, she took it better than I ever thought she would. The things that we were talking about, like being honest, like just being, and then it turned her in the same way. She started telling me things, and I was like, see, like to myself, I'm thinking, well, dang, you idiot! Like, why'd you wait 17 years to have some
Right.
of these
Uh-huh.
conversations? But like, and I guess I had built into my head her response, and that wasn't fair to her. Like,
Mhm.
I assumed she's going to say this based on whatever I based it on. So I think just being open and honest and having those conversations, but at the same time, asking her as well, like giving her a chance to talk. Like
Mhm.
I didn't have to be the only one talking. Like I could let her do the same thing, and not feel like I had to carry the burden of our relationship on my own either. Like, yes, I'm the man. I have to leave our family. I have to leave our marriage. All that's on me. But at the same time, I can share with her, like, this is really hard right now. Like, I'm struggling in this, and I need your help and support in this, which may impact us. And that's harder for a man to do, period, I think. Just to
Yes.
admit something's hard right now. Like, I'm struggling and this sucks and I need help. But to tell her, and not that I want her to fix it, but just to her to be aware. And
Yes, to
then
kind
she
share
always
the
kind
emotional
of,
burden. Yes.
yep, exactly. And then that in turn leads to her helping me in some other ways, take off the stress from something different. That's been hard, but it's been great to do that. And then, I mean, again, you start asking yourself, why is it you waited 17 years to do some of this? And that's not to say that things were bad before. I mean, but they were not. I mean, we're 17 years and, we're great, but just it makes you wish you had done that earlier and how much better things would have been the whole time. Because right now things are awesome. I'm not gonna lie, things are awesome. I mean, we are probably at the highest we've ever been in our relationship ever, and we have 8 kids in the house, and we're still doing fine. We're still good. So, yeah, that's probably the 2 biggest things for me that I kind of had to wake up and either hear it from other people or even just in some of our conversations we were having, like, okay, like, you've got to do this. Like, you've got to come out of your shell. You've got to be you have to be open, vulnerable, honest, and you can't predict her response and you can't control her response, but you gotta give her a chance to respond.
That's really good. That's really good. So we have a format in our men's coaching program where you sign up in advance to be a hot seat in a certain night, meaning you know when you'll kind of have the center of attention for the group. And then the other nights you're there to observe. What was it like being in the hot seat?
I was the very first person in the hot seat,
Uh-huh.
um, this class. It was very nerve-wracking because you don't quite know what to expect 100%. Dan likes to throw curveballs every now and then. Catching you think you're gonna know what's coming, and then it's something different. It's very easy, I will say, the first time I did it was very easy to get defensive, and put a guard up because, I mean, it was literally, I think, our second night together, and, I mean, I don't know all these guys yet. I don't know, like, "Whoa, you're getting a
Right.
little too close for comfort there, fellas." But by the end, it was like, "This is what's going on. This is our crap this week, what you got for me?" kinda deal. Um, and that, like, it just became more natural to open up and share and not get defensive because you learn the guys really do have your best interest in your marriage at heart when they're talking to you.
Right. Good, good. And then Clint, what was it like not being in the hot seat, being just the observer that night? What was that experience like?
I would say early on, probably a little awkward as well because you didn't know how open they were gonna be either, and I mean, the only person who knew ahead of time was you, Dan. You're the only one who knew what the topic was, and the person, of course, in the hot seat. So the rest of us are just kind of watching it unfold as we go and trying to, soak up all the details. Um, like, you almost felt empathy a little bit for them. Like, "Dang, this is hard." Like, and you can tell for some people it was hard. You're like, "I'm
Right.
glad that's not me," but you also know your time's coming. But at the end, by the time it was over, when that person's session was over, everybody's given feedback or saying, "Hey, did that with me too," or "This is how I did that," or asking questions if they had not been there, asking questions of the people so they would kind of learn. I think that was the part that was kind of cool was after, we talked through it with you, then everybody else had a chance to either comment or ask questions or give help. But it also kind of gave you a small insight into them as well. And
Mhm.
saying this, for example, Tony or whoever it would be is opening up and sharing that this is huge and this is hard. But I think at the same time, if you don't do that, you're not getting anything out of it. I mean, like we're in this group for a reason. We want something to change. Like we're here for a change of something. Everybody's something is different, right? Well, the reason they're there. So for anybody in the future who would do this, I would tell them, yes, it's hard, but anything, and I've told Tony this before, anything that's worth having is hard. I mean, if it's easy, it's not worth having. You haven't worked for it. So going through the hot city, be open, be willing to share and get something out of it. Cause otherwise it's just going to be a waste of time. And the other guys who are, listening, dive in and help and learn and you're up next. So get ready.
Right, right, right. There's a particular man in our group, not you two, another man that had some extraordinary challenges. And I really admire how you two, Tony and Clint, kind of rallied around him and helped him. You'd text him, you'd call him. This is like not an assignment or anything like that. This is just what you want to do. What was that experience like for you being on that end of things?
For me, when the guy shared his first hot seat and told us what was going on, it was, I'm gonna use the term heavy. It was a heavy, they were going through some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And I could relate to a lot of what they were going through. And so that night afterwards, I messaged him through the online app or whatever and just said, buddy, I'm here. I've been there. Know what it's like. Holler at me if you need me, kind of thing. And so we chatted a little bit back and forth that way. And I was like, look, here's my phone number. Text me if you need to. And I'm super glad he did. He texted me within 24 hours. And we have talked several times. There were a couple of days in a row when it was really hard for him. And we were texting multiple times throughout the day. And right now they're still going through stuff and everything. And still here supporting them, giving them advice when we can give advice, checking in how they're doing all the time. And for me on this side of it, it's great because I know this sounds weird. It's almost like it's like my little brother. Like I
Yeah.
really, I'm like, it's just that kind of mentality. I feel like, all right, this is my bro. I got to look out after him for a little bit, help him out, give him some big brother advice, that kind of thing. Um, which, it's been great. Like, that was really something that surprised me about the group, that I was really surprised it would come out of the group onto a more individual level.
Anything you want to add to that, Clint?
I guess the only thing I would add would be, because I think he and I were on the hot seat the same night the first time, and I had sent him a message again through the app and just saying, "Are you ready for tonight?" Like we're, just kind of just make, I mean, whatever
Uh huh.
conversation. And he didn't tell me what the topic was, but he said, "I hope I am." And I said, "Oh, have you not prepared with Dan?" Like I thought he was being like he had not given you the stuff ahead of time or something. He's like,
Right,
"Oh,
right.
I
Uh huh.
I said, "Okay." And he's like, "This is just some heavy, hard stuff." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, thanks for the heads up." And I mean, I didn't you can't guess what somebody's gonna say.
Yeah, yeah.
So kinda like Tony said, when it was over, I was like, "Dude, I'm here." Like, that was huge for you to even share what you shared with us. While I'm not there with you personally, I'm here if you have any questions. Because again, kinda like what Tony and I said earlier, like, there were people all different, I guess, they were a different stage. He's behind us. So kinda like Tony, like, I can give you some advice, but at the same time, we didn't really like, I think it was week 2 or 3. I guess we're week 3 of the actual group. I was
Right.
like, "He doesn't know who I am, and I don't wanna push him and be like, 'I know everything and you don't,' because I don't know it all. Trust me, I don't know it. I'm here." But so it's just the unknown of how is he gonna take it, and he was like, "Come on, I want some more." Like, "You're here I am," and we kinda got our group chat text going, and I mean, yeah, I mean, it's been it's not constant, but we'll check in and, he'll say thumbs up, whatever, and we'll talk, or he'll like, "Hey," he'll reach out and say, "Can y'all pray for me now?" or whatever. So it's been awesome, and I would agree with Tony. It's an unexpected outcome at that level
That's
that
good.
I had not expected.
Someone once told me everyone needs a mentor. they need peers and a mentee, someone else
Yeah.
to mentor. And I love that
Yeah.
advice. And I think
Yeah.
this group,
Good.
in a way, provided all three. All right,
Yeah.
I want to hear what are some of the unexpected side benefits, side effects of taking this coaching program and this course. Let's go, Clint, and then Tony.
I'll give you one funny.
Yeah.
Well, first, I guess going back to just what we were saying about the other guy, like that was one unexpected.
Uh-huh.
Was kind of three of us, and I'm kind of going for that. But I'll give you a funny, and I mean I've told Tony, so he knows. But um, my oldest two are 15 and 13, and they are like grossed out. They're like, y'all are gross because like we'll kiss and make out in the kitchen, or like I'll come up and grab her or whatever. I mean,
Uh-huh.
nothing
Uh-huh.
inappropriate in front of my
Uh-huh.
kid. I'm not that. But my oldest two are like, "Oh, that is so gross. Would y'all stop? Like, would y'all just go to your room? Like, whatever." And I think it's awesome. I mean, I really do feel like I think it's crazy because I'm like, and I actually told my daughter tonight, I was like, I hope you have a husband one day who will do that to you. Like,
Yeah.
who will be that much in love with you that he wants to be affectionate and touchy, lovey, whatever. And not that we did do that before, but I think we're
Uh-huh.
doing way more than we used to. It's more intentional. Some of our conversations we had in the group, it doesn't have to always just be a certain time. Like all day long, you're showing love to your spouse. So I've taken that to heart, and there are probably some times that I mean, the kids are like, "That's disgusting. Please stop." But I think it's
Uh-huh.
awesome. I think it's awesome.
Uh-huh.
It's really
Yeah.
fun. But not that we do it for them to catch us or see us, but I mean, I'll walk up to her in the kitchen and come up from behind and hug her. I mean, kiss her or whatever. But yeah, so that was an unexpected. Just for the kids to see something's different. I guess is what all
Yes.
that comes back to. The kids are aware something's different, and they
That's
don't know
good.
what, but they know something is different.
Yeah. And that's your
And
secret between you and your
right,
wife.
right. I mean, and I've told Tony like, "Oh, the kids are grossed out," and he's like, "Good, go like keep on like that's our goal, right?" Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the benefit is the kids the kids are aware something has changed,
Yeah.
and
And deep down
that's
inside,
that's huge,
they they feel a little more secure. Mom and dad
right?
really like each
Yeah,
other.
and I'm like,
And I
it's
think
not wrong for you to see your parents love each other, you know?
right. Right, right.
Yeah.
Hopefully deep down inside, your daughter's like, yeah, I want my future husband to do that
Oh,
too.
I'm sure she is. She's 13 and she's like, "That is gross." Like,
Uh,
why are you touching her all the time and kissing her and or whatever? But I think putting aside part that is funny, that they realize something's there, and as they get older, they'll start to click what that is as they have relationships and they get older and mature. But I'm okay with it. I mean, good, go for it.
Mhm. Good. Great. How about you, Tony? Indirect benefits from the program.
So one that's really kind of looking over the whole 12 weeks back or whatever, my wife would be definitely the lower drive, not the initiator. I'm pretty much always the one that was initiating higher drive. I mean, just the guy. But I've noticed when I look back over our progress through the work and the stuff that we've put in, not just on my end doing this and doing the exercises and stuff, but the conversations we've had, it's starting to balance out to where she's opening up to stuff. She's more receptive to flirting, and I don't mean like romantic flirting. I mean like stupid middle school, "Hey baby, how you doing?" kind of stuff. Um, and to the point where she's actually initiating, and it's like a 50-50 thing now, which
Uh-huh.
is great, great
Yes.
benefit for me right now. It's definitely super nice.
And you've shared with me, Tony, too. Hope it's appropriate to share here. Like you're doing more adventurous stuff in the bedroom now than you have before because you've got a good relationship foundation.
Right.
You can actually enjoy those things now.
Yeah, we actually did an exercise, and I don't mind saying this. One of the first exercises you gave me to do to open up to her was to sit down, just take a few minutes and write down all of my thoughts or fantasies, anything we wanted might try or interests or whatever. And it's kind of interesting when going back to that list now, how many have gotten checked off over the past 12 weeks. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, okay.
Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good. And kudos to your wife too. She's
absolutely.
courageous and stepping into this and she's doing her part too. But That's fantastic. Any last words, parting words you'd like to give or advice you'd give to a man considering the program, but he's on the fence, not sure if he's going to do it or not?
I would say just go all in. Like, like I said earlier, I mean, if you're going to the point of taking a step to sign up for the course or the program, so you've already done the hard part to me. Like you've already made the decision, you want to do this. So now that you're in, you're not gonna get anything out of it if you don't go all in. And the other guys in the group, whoever you're in a group with, are not gonna get anything out of it either if you don't go all in. So don't hold back. Be open. Be willing to receive feedback and also self-reflect a little bit because I think it's easy for people to say, I have X problem and it's all them. It's all my wife, whatever. But we have to take ownership of our own crap too. I mean, and some of that comes out of this group, and I think it's great. I mean, there are things that I've realized. I mean, even just from my own hot seats, like some of it is what the issue was how I was responding to something. Like I was controlling the narrative that then created
Uh-huh.
a problem. And if I stop and change how I responded to that, the whole thing is different. I guess in a nutshell, go all in, be willing to grow. Otherwise, you're not getting much out of it.
Oh, so good. Great. How about you, Tony?
So I know that, like, for me, one of the biggest benefits, don't just rely on the weekly Zoom meeting. You've got to go outside of that. You've got to get involved with the messages back and forth because it's hard to cover a whole topic and get everybody's opinion and stuff. One thing that really I think helped our group mesh and gel is before the official Zoom meeting started, we were already logging on 10, 15, 20 minutes early and having conversation, like just normal guy conversations back and forth,
Mm.
checking in and all that before we kind of got to work, so to speak. That really helped the cohesion of the group. It loosened us up a little bit. It wasn't so stiff and rigid when people would talk or whatever. It was much more relaxing. I think that's a big one. I would echo what Clint said. If you even have like an inkling that you might want to do it or whatever, you just need to do it because that one little seed of doubt or whatever is enough to say, okay, there's stuff that can be improved on in our relationship, or there's stuff I need to work on. And doing that is a huge thing because I thought I was going to come into this group honestly and be like, okay, I thought it was going to be two things: how do I fix my wife, and how do I get better at sex? Like that's what I thought was going to happen. But really, that's such a byproduct of it's really like, how do I own my own crap
Uh-huh.
and take responsibility and alter the course and that kind of aspect.
I love it. That is so good. Thank you very much. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Clint, for your time
Yes,
and
sir.
for sharing your sextimony here. Right? Very good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Now, I have a tradition on this podcast that I will read a review. If you hear your review read that you left on Apple Podcasts, email support@getyourmarriageon.com and I'll mail you a special gift. So here's a review I received recently. This person said, "This podcast offers a refreshing and insightful take on cultivating a deep, meaningful connection with your partner. Topics covered are always fresh and relevant. Dan doesn't shy away from tackling issues that many couples may face. It gives good insight into understanding you're not alone in your struggles, but also gives thought-provoking advice on those topics." Thank you for that review. Now, if this podcast has been helpful for you in your marriage, will you please take a moment now to leave a review on Apple Podcasts? This is one small way you can help spread the news about how married sex is best and where couples can go to find real help and insight and how to make their most important, significant relationship even stronger, especially in these challenging times. Thank you. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you're interested in accelerating growth in your marriage, either sexually, emotionally, or spiritually, I want to invite you to work with me in my affordable coaching program called Next Level. More information about Next Level and my fun and sexy apps for couples are available at getyourmarriageon.com. Please also don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss a single episode. And be sure to tell your married friends. I promise, they will thank you for life. Now go get your marriage on.